Hello everyone, Kenti Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in Space Engineers, and this is another one of those interim series. And I think we're going to try and get everything done in this episode. Don't know if I'll be able to do that. I've said that before. So a lot of clang between the last interim episode and this one. Um, as you can see, we're still sitting in front of this little base here. Um, I tried to move some things around and ended up with the copy paste issue that wasn't cooperating. So was actually going to move the tunnel into a more ideal location. So obviously you see the planet over here, and the three conveyors you see down here at the bottom are really the bottom. So that's right side up there, and that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted to be able to step off the platform and be ready to launch to Earth. Um, the large asteroid for mining ended up being way the heck out over yonder. Don't know how it ended up like that, so I moved it. I moved it in. So it is now about 10 clicks away, give or take. And of course the moon is still over there at 96-ish away. And the planet is 60. So that gives me about a 5-6K range before I actually start falling into the gravity well. So I wanted to be far enough outside that different things could happen. And again, because I want to turn on that exploration mod, then having things kind of as I want them. So with the moon, the big asteroid here, and then this smaller, much smaller. So this, in the process of Clang, where things just got totally destroyed, really, then this became 400 meters across, with 150 meters as the inside space, which I think is much more practical, because it's never going to be huge. I don't foresee that that all of that space is ever going to get used. It will all get blocked off because the only way to have an airtight space is with blocks. So you can't just use a hollowed out asteroid to have an airtight environment. So airtight is absolutely associated with blocks, not with voxels. So anyway, just kind of showing everything here. What I think I'm going to do, I removed the shipyard, and I did that purposefully. So I think what I will do is paste the shipyard back in. So it is Nanite Shipyard. Here we go. And so the sun is up here. So this is about right. All right, and okay, everything turned on, including this, which I do not want on. So this is the cargo teleporter, which I want to have off for right now. So So this is the well-armed station. It is inactive, which is good. I moved the, okay, so the asteroid is there, the asteroid base, oh, sorry, that's the asteroid base. The large asteroid is, oop, where the hell is it? There's the moon, there's the asteroid, okay. That's the 5-kilometer asteroid, which is still 10K out. So I think this is a pretty good place for this right now. Obviously, Kenti's plan will be to eventually totally grind this down, and move it down to or maybe just grind most of it down and use a portion of it, like maybe 8 or 12 of the nanite factories, and maybe bolt it in. So this should be, yeah. So one of the, there were 2 factors in relocating the tunnel where it is now. One of them is the sun is right there. So I think I will follow what I don't think I ever said this, but I built this thing. So this isn't something that's on the workshop anywhere. It was something I just had the idea, and I tend to over engineer. So the downside to this thing is just the lag that it introduces into the game. So you have to have some pretty heavy horsepower to do this. The machine that this is running on is, I think, a 3.2 gig. It's an i7. It's a second generation i7, 2011. As in a LGA 2011 socket, before the V3 socket, and hex core. So it was right when they introduced the hex core. It had been out for about a year or something when I bought this one. So the prices had gone down about $200 before I actually bought this one. And it's been an awesome machine, but it is quite a few years old now. So it has done me well. It's built on the Sabertooth X79 chipset from Intel, Asus motherboard, of course. I think they're the only ones that make a Sabertooth. So the replacement, I may have to do a replacement earlier than intended. And it's not that this machine is inadequate by any means. It's that actually the capture machine is inadequate. So trying to do capture on the other machine, was a repurposed, I actually upgraded my desktop. So I'm very decentralized as far as my computing goes. There's a computer for, I don't want to say a computer for everything, but computer for everything. So I have my laptop, which I take with me underway. Obviously, I have they're not called netbooks anymore, but it's effectively a netbook. A miniature laptop that also goes with me underway. So my laptop becomes my desktop on the ship, and then the netbook becomes my roamer. So if I have to bounce from ship to ship, then that one is the one that goes with me. So I always carry those 2 with me. At home, the laptop is basically a file server. It does absolutely nothing really. I mean, it's set up and accessible, but it really doesn't do anything on the network because I'm doing everything on the desktop. The desktop is now an i7, not anything really remarkable. 11, I think it's an 1151 socket i7. So 6th generation i7 chip in there, I think. So nothing terribly fancy. I think it's got 32 gig of RAM. Yeah, I think I've got 4 8 gig chips in it for RAM. So nothing crazy. It does have an M2 drive in it, so obviously SSD. Smaller than I wanted. It was a 256, but you know, the M2 technologies are a little unpredictable because you've got SATA M2 and you've got PCIe M2, and you've got all the different keys. There's about 4 different keys, and then you have all the different terminology that goes with it, and really truly understanding what that terminology means is a challenge. And then finding products that actually match. So what I've found, and I know I'm totally babbling about computers here instead of, you know, space engineers like I'm. So anyway, welcome to the world of babble. This is very common with me because my mind is going in 847 different directions at once. So the M2 sockets there's a lot of different technologies. So the trick is for the manufacturers to actually identify exactly what this socket is for. The counter to that is then the actual chip manufacturers, the SSD card manufacturers, to identify exactly what this device is. And the manufacturers actually do, I think, a much better job than the folks who say this is what socket this is and this is what will work in it, because so in the process of doing the M2 SSD, it's listed as a PCIe as far as the it's a Asus Z170 board, and they claim it is a PCIe, but it's not. It actually is, or okay, sorry, let me take that back. It is a PCIe, but it will not run 512K or 512 gig. It will only run the 256. So there's other magic there that I do not know what all it means. So it makes the M2 cards and sockets an interesting prospect. So I bought an auxiliary card that was supposed to, my intention was to plug the 500 gig M2 into it so I could use it on another machine. And it just plugs into a PCIe 1 slot. Can't make it work in any machine. So I don't think the card, even though the device fits in the socket, I don't think that card actually works with that interface board. So I have not at this point been able to find anything that will actually run a 500 meg PCIe M2 card, 2280 card in anything. It wouldn't do anything. It's a Western Dig, so I have the faith that I didn't get a bad product out of the box, but you know, you never know. All right, so enough babble about computers. Can you tell I build computers for fun? All right, so the goal for this one is to actually build our dock out here. Now this may be a temporary dock, but dock nonetheless. So let's kind of mark the outsides. Let me go ahead. Initially, I was going to say I'm going to do this in light armor because there's no need to do it in heavy armor. But I'm gonna retract that and do it in heavy armor. was obviously getting rather confused here. Things were not where I anticipated they were. Alright, and a lot of this stuff can go away. So voxel hands can go away, that can go away, and the heavy armor block. So we can use mostly this. So I have kind of standard docks that I build. I usually do a slope on the corners, and it could actually be like this because ultimately these are or can be in the floor of this. Well, that's different with one of the doors completely missing. So that is there, and this is here. So this is effectively what I am intending on building. So that really bothers me. So sorry for the OCD moment there. Seeing a door that has the door missing. So there's a couple different ways that all this can happen. Now, because there's an airlock right here, I don't really feel the need to build another airlock. So from that perspective, I'm not terribly worried about it. Now, how long does this dock tunnel need to be? And again, that's probably a personal preference type of a question. What I typically do is do it in increments of 3. Why 3? Because I do windows. So the first thing I want to do is, now I originally colored this so it would match the asteroid. So it's similar in color to the asteroid. So I think we'll follow suit with that. So this is obviously a 3x2 window. I tend to do overkill, and by oops, you know what? I just said I was going to leave it that color, and I changed it. Let me turn off T because I don't want that on. And here's what I mean by overkill. So this is heavy armor. Bulletproof glass does not measure up like armor does. So what I would like to do is, so I like 3, and there's, you know, not really any reason per se to do 3 versus 4 versus 8, but the idea is that a ship will be able to dock out here. So I want this dock tunnel to be far enough away from the asteroid that incoming vessels are not going to bounce off the asteroid in the process of docking. So whether it's 3 or even 4 is really kind of a preferential thing. So the other option here is, do I want to put a landing pad out here? So then the question is, what side does the landing pad go on? Do I want it on this side? Do I want it on the other side? Do I want a landing pad on both sides? So there's really a lot of options here, and so I think I'll actually plan for some options. So this is going to get a little extravagant, but I think in the end it will have given us the most practical capabilities. So number 4 in this case is my flat window, so I need a flat window and a flat window, and then a 1, and I'll show you why we're doing that one. So there's a 1 and a 1, and then another flat, which if it will actually line up and do it, yes it will, thankfully. And then we're back to the 2s, which I want to put right here, and we're gonna do 2. So this is a slight bit longer than originally conceptualized, but I will have a landing pad on both sides, and then the dock out here. So then the dock area will actually be a little bit beyond the scope of the landing pad. So why 2 landing pads? A little more flexibility. I can park the miner on one side. We've already seen the miner. Having said all that, then we're going to flip this around and do this side. So I only need 2. So in this case, it's 4. 4. Right. That didn't work out so well. Alright, then we do spin that one, so 1 there, 1 there, a 1 square, which will turn around as well, so that's going to go there and there, back to the 2, and put it there and there, and then we'll go back to our large window, which is there, there, and 1 more, which then makes symmetrical with the other side. So these cargo containers, which at this point you can't turn them off, so they're spawning in pretty regularly. I want to say I've probably approached about 50 of them now, and all day today that I've been in Space Engineers, couple hours so far today, and no return on the effort. So I'm kind of ignoring them now. They're just an annoyance now. So I guess Space Engineers didn't have enough issues without adding. I like the idea of skins, but I don't like the idea of basically gambling to collect all the skins. I mean, if you're going to put the skins in the game, put them in the game. If you're not going to put them in the game, then don't put them in the game. WTFO. Okay, what was I going to do here? Why did I create this little hole? This thing is why I created this hole. So this is a single block airlock. I love this thing. So there's one side, and we put another one on this side. And I'm going to flip it around the other way. There. So I like the airlocks because it is a single block. I don't have to use 2 blocks to go on through. Over the course of time, this has broken a few times. So actually, let's see if it works. So the inner door you see close, and then the outer door opens, and then you click it again, the outer door closes, the inner door opens, and you are now inside. So total airlock barrier, true airlock. So I love those things. They save a lot of time. All right, we'll go ahead and build the. I guess I can do it either way, can I? build all the way out to here. And the reason I went a couple extra blocks is because I have to build the airlock area on this end. Which I really should have built 3. Because I like having a door, then an actual gap, and then another door. Now, one of the things I have not done, I believe the airtight doors are from Sectan, but I do not have them in this world, and I actually really like them. Alright, so problem is I can't see what this is. Yeah. Alright, that was at least the correct length there. Now, I will come back and change these to add in the... alright, let's see if we can make this thing work right this time. Alright, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Alright, so there's our windows. Now, there's a couple things we can do on the top here. Because I have the space, a lot of times what I will do is actually put... Why do I have the wrong color? Well, that was weird. Alright, so we'll leave the bottom open, but this top, I like a lot of glass. Now, glass isn't necessarily the safest thing when it comes to building, for obvious reasons. So here's the idea. We're going to come all the way out, actually to right there, because the airlock is in this latter portion. And because we have a surface to mount to, we're going to do the same thing again. Come out to there. Alright, interesting things to happen in here. So this is my standard conveyor system here. It's overkill, but I'm an overkill engineer. So I like planning everything all the way out, and this has kind of become my standardized conveyor system. So red is the pull-in system. So this is like a miner, and I hook up to the red, and I know everything that I have in cargo is going to get sucked out of the ship. I don't have, all I have to do is connect. I connect, pull out my solitaire game on the keypad, and I'm done. I don't have to do anything as a pilot. So that's the red. It just pulls everything in, and then the station becomes responsible for sorting. If you haven't seen my my sorting tutorial, the sorting system tutorial, that's up on the channel as well. So that's that sorting system, or very similar. The concept of the sorting system. Obviously, that particular sorting system was entirely for tutorial, but that's the concept that will be used for the systems in this station. So pretty complex, but they will do what they need to do. The green is supply. So this is all your components, your hand tools, your bottles, everything that you need, in or out. So you've got a direct connection onto main storage here. The blue kind of evolved. It was unnecessary, but you got to think most blocks are 3 blocks wide. You've got your large storage bins. They're 3 blocks wide. You've got your heck, jump drives are 3 blocks wide. Your large reactors 3 blocks wide. So if I were to have a 2 conveyor system, independent system, so one for pull in and one for supply, would be all fine and dandy. But what do you do with that third space? It's either blank blocks or you come up with some other neat nifty thing. So I kind of did the neat nifty thing and said, okay, while supply is supply, understood, why not dedicate one to fuel and ice? So let me see, I need fuel and ice in my craft. That's all I need. I don't need to take anything. I don't need supplies. I don't need anything. I just need fuel for my reactors and friggin' ice for my gas generators. So I hook up to the blue, grab it, go. I don't have to worry about anything else. I don't have to sort through and sift through, you know, the 100 different containers to find anything. I know it's right there. So that's what the blue became, was fuel and ice. Is it redundant? Yes, it actually interconnects into the supply system. The other side is that the sorter that actually allows through ice and uranium ingots is a not drainol. So drainol is turned off. You can put it through, but you don't have to. So it's kind of auxiliary storage. Now, one of the things that I've done in the latter builds is actually have the oxygen supply and the power generation coming off of that conveyor system. So that fuel ice supply becomes the fuel ice supply for the base as well. Now, I never remove all of the fuel and ice from the main supply system, because that's what ships are mostly going to be hooking up to. So, for what it's worth. Anyway, babble. So number 4, and again number 4, and I am going to color code these as I'm putting them in. So bear with me as we do this. We're going to come all the way out to the end, and we will actually end up. Alright, so these come all the way out here. Now, why did I do all those red? Well, because that way I only have to paint 2 of them. So I'm trying to be efficient here. So the green one in the middle is, then I just sit myself down here and roll all the way forward here until I bounce off the door. Bink. Alright, and this one is then blue, which isn't really blue because implementation of DX11. Alright. Backwards here, kind of slow. Alright, so there's our 3 systems, 3 independent systems. Now the next thing I need to do is put air supply in. So I am using let me get this I have been using, actually we'll go ahead and do that way, I think. So this is a conveyor air vent. It is a conveyor, but it's only got 5 sides, and one side is an air vent. This, I believe, is by Digi. So Digi, this is another one of these fabulous devices from Digi. I love the hell out of it, because it's flush. It's not taking up a surface area. I don't have to, figure out. I don't have to cut, windows out. It's in the floor. So flush mounted. I love these things. All right. So this is air vent, dock, tunnel 1. And we'll actually have another one on the other side. So this is airlock, planet How about planet? Planet side. And I think this is moon side. I totally can't type. S-I-D-E, how about? And I don't know if that's really, really true. I can't see diddly out here, so... well, I can't see the moon. There's the moon. Yep, the moon's up, way up there. And the planet over there. So that kind of makes sense. So this should say, if we go into this, oh, I reversed them. Planet side, moon side. All right, everything is to me. Ah, damn it. Me. Yes. Why it doesn't just default to me, I have no idea. All right. So having built that, we can now put, do a block, and a block. We do block and a block, and a block. And we do the same thing again here. Oh, you know what? How about if I get on the right color, perhaps? Block. There it is, much better. Now it actually matches. Alright, and we put blocks here, here, freezing. And there. And then we go back to our windows, and here's where the trick comes in, because we have the window in here, which is fine, and we actually are going to use plate. So the catwalk plates, and I think I'm going to go this way. And we'll do the same thing on this side. Now for those of you who are not familiar with windows, in this case I'm surface mounting this outer window. Why did these work and I didn't have to do that? Because they're actually mounted down here. So these outer windows are fastened to the universe with this as its mount surface. So windows are a bit quirky in how they work. So in this case, these steel plates now have melded with this here. So now this is mounted onto the steel plates, which are surface mounted onto these blocks. Okay, so now we just basically secured both sides. But I had to put those in because to put my windows in here, spin those around. So this window is fine. But this window would have absolutely nothing to connect onto without those plates there. So in this case, that window is there. Why did I put two out here? Because symmetrical. Yeah, that way it doesn't look silly like, well, you put plates there, why didn't you put plates there? All right, spin that back around, and now we can put this out here. All right, so this is the outer airlock for the dock. So one, that's what I wanted. 5. So this is Darth Biomech's large gate. This is dock airlock inner door. I tend to name these as I go along, and the reason I name them as I go along is because then I don't have to come back and figure out what the heck is that door again? And that's inner. And that's owned by me. And in this case, we're going to open it. because. And then there's going to be another door right here, which is actually the dock area. So this is basically what's going to be next to the ship. And this is dock, airlock, outer. So inner and outer doors. All right. So we need it doesn't really matter which way these face, but I'm going to go ahead and face it this way, and I'm going to make these black just because. There will be another one here, which is actually the airlock air vent. So that way the airlock can have air if it needs it. Then we're going to name this. So this was the tunnel, dock tunnel 1. So this one is going to be dock tunnel 2. And this one is dock airlock. All right. So now that we're done there, we will close that door. You can see that just turned green and is now filling, which means our tunnel is... There are strange collision things happening with the doors now, which never used to happen before. All right, so we're going to close that. Now we have to design our dock. The question is how to do that. Are we doing this as we have done others in the past? For an example, and I killed it. All right, give me half a second while I find it and bring it back into my blueprints library here. Station builds. And connector dock. Okay, now this is going to error because there's pieces missing. One of the things is Sectan's tunnel that I do not have loaded up in this world. Dock tunnel, and it's gonna error. Just told you so. But let me bring that up into the world here. Spin this over and then flip it around so we can see what it looks like. Right, I'm gonna paste that. Okay, so this is ultimately what we want here. So there's a couple things. Now, well, two more things that we're missing. So let me, it's going to be a little hard to see. Oh, not that one, this one. But you can see, well, I wish I could point to it and have you see it. So you see that's this end. So there's two connectors on there that actually, function to hold the ship on. So this is a dock. So they connect on to those two connectors, which are a matched pair. So they're both in use for the same thing, and they literally, you can see it on the other dock here, where you basically have both the connectors just going straight forward into a T, and then in. So nothing magical there. So each side literally goes to a T. That happens to be a cross, but the cross doesn't go anywhere. And then the tunnel was actually what that little, it looks like a hexagon in the very end there, just above the connectors. So the tunnel is what's missing in this, and those two connectors are actually an auxiliary connector. I think it was actually by Duncan Kong originally. I could be wrong about that, but they were basically a connector that allowed you to connect on large stuff and small stuff to the connector. So it had a smaller connector in the center, and it was awesome. It gave you the total flexibility on a large grid to connect either large stuff or small stuff, and it didn't matter. Both of them would lock up. Now, of course, over the course of time, things have changed. The way they do the lights, you know, the yellow, green, cayenne, and white lights on there has changed. So it hasn't been updated in a long time. So it's kind of one of the reasons I stopped using it. I kind of went back to vanilla. I like it better, but because most of the small ships I build now, I put a big connector on anyway. So I can still use a large grid connector to connect the small ships onto. So I love the ability to do that, because then I'm not. And I mean, there's a lot of advantages to the large small ship connector, because there's a lot of stuff you can't get through the small connectors, the small conveyors. Missiles, for example, can't put a missile through a small conveyor, which is exactly why reloadable missile launchers have large connectors on them, large conveyor ports. All right, so anyway, that's what that was supposed to look like. So the two connectors there are 5 wide. We'll go under here so you can see kind of what this does. So this goes in and tees in here. Oh, and in fact, this is screwed up. Never noticed. So this T is backwards. The T is supposed to connect onto this the oxygen pressurizer is actually the bottom of the air vent conveyor, and this one also is messed up. So this one is supposed to be turned sideways. So what I did was put an actual oxygen generator and 2 oxygen tanks in here for just auxiliary. More is better. More is better. All right, so so the downside here is we need to get okay, to make this happen, let me turn my back on. We'll get back out to 1. So we're going to inverted corner here, and expanding out. Is that that was a black. So let's go back to the correct color, which is that one. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Now, we're going to remove both of those, and in fact both of those. And the reason those are going away is because I'm going to go in with an elbow. So this one is the blue, and the next one is the red, which is right there. And this one that was really strange. Just didn't disappear. So we're going to do a T, which is going to connect on to this conveyor. We have a straight through here. Straight through, and then an elbow, which is right there, and then right there. Yeah, which is good. Okay, and then we'll turn that sideways, which is a number 4 and a number 4, and then where is my example, which is right there, and the connectors were on the outside here. So in this case is a connector and a connector. I have never liked the look of this connector. It just looks so blah. It is an unsymmetrical block. It's not even the same size as the other blocks. It just, I've never liked it. All right. So, having built this, then we're going to build similar to what's over here. So we'll go back to number 1. This is a corner block, which is right there and there. Then we have a slope. Now I've got the corner, so I might as well put it up. And then block, corner, armor, slope. So 1, 2, 3, spin there, spin, and there. All right. So, obviously I'm using a small door. This is the door out of also Darth Biomech's airlock door. It's actually a really neat door. And allow me to demonstrate. So, peek. And it actually has, the collisions are pretty good, so you don't get stuck, but I like that it has this little warning. Airlock opens to space. So did an awesome job on this. This is part of the docking ring mod that Darth Biomech put out. Alright, so I'm done with that. The thing I have to do is finish slope. Now, again, I like windows. The only thing that I don't really like in this case is the fact that normally I would have to put singles in here, but I'm going to totally cheat and put that in. Now, having said that, because I have double glass everywhere, then I have to fix that. And here's where the singles come in, because there isn't a 3-high window. There's only a 2-high window. So I'm going to do the next best thing, which is to take 3 windows and put in here. So there's 1, 2, 3. Yep. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's my double windows. And then we can close that again. Alright, so there is the dock as well as we can complete it at this moment. So this is probably a good stopping place for this first episode. So we've done quite a bit. There's quite a bit left to do, but we'll do that in the next interim series episode. So this is Kenti Tiger signing off, and we will see you next time.